Morning. Right side of the news. We switched up a little bit. We're going to be we're in the studio at 8:30 on Wednesday morning, and our show will be up at 9:30. Just 5 minutes after we get done. Of course, we're going to try and keep them to 20 minutes or a half hour because most people just don't have an hour to take out of their day lots of times, and I think that'd be appropriate. We've got Doug Jenke here. Doug is my co-host on Poke the Hornet's Nest every other Sunday. And Doug is quite versed on world matters. And it seems like we haven't been able to get there because there's so much going on locally. So I thought Doug would want to come in, and he'll be here every other Wednesday with me, and he can pick whatever he wants to talk about. Except today, I'm the boss today, Doug.
Well, Nick, you're always the boss. I am just a side fiddle. I just ride, in the sidecar on your motorcycle, buddy. So what's up?
Oh, not much. Last week on Poke the Hornet's Nest, I came up with a bright idea. Why doesn't the city just give big league dreams to a private entity and let them run with it?
And it was his idea. I got to say, folks, if you're listening, it was his idea. So there you go.
And then I stumbled across this debate between Joshua Johnson and Tennessee Audette. And she came up with the idea similar to mine, probably just 2 days earlier. I wonder if she's tapping into my mind with
subliminal messaging.
Mental
is what happened.
Telepathy.
There
hey,
it
Nick,
is. Yeah.
Thanks for giving me this idea.
Yeah.
No, actually, she comes up with some really good ideas. And we're going to have this where you can find us on YouTube on our podcast. And if you go to it, it's an hour and a half, and it's really interesting. Tennessee is for growing our sales tax by growing our sales tax pie instead of passing a new tax, making our government a little bit leaner and having businesses attracted to Reading because we have a low tax rate.
Well, you and I discussed this on our last show about how, Measure A was poorly written and this and that and written by Joshua Johnson. And the reality is I disagreed with you. It was just a bad idea to begin with. The problem I had as a person looking in, and of course I didn't get the vote because I live up in Shingletucky, but they never once mentioned cutting government. They never mentioned cutting salaries, pensions, funds. I mean, I explained the fact that as a real estate agent,
they did mention it. They said if we don't pass this tax, they're going to cut a bunch of cops and firefighters.
Well,
where's that ever been said before?
Well, there's the threat is, if you don't do this, we're going to cut your services. But at the same time, we're going to leave our incredibly overpaid, overbloated management class in the Reading city government untouched. And, I had suggested that they do across the board 10% to all management and above. Rank and file, those folks are out there grinding the roads and whatever. But the management do a 10%. And if they don't like it, leave. Get the hell out of Reading because this 10% cut in Reading is still going to be more than 100% anywhere else. So shut up, take a small cut. When it's tough, you have to cut and trim the fat. And nobody ever mentioned that. And I think that was the biggest issue is let's just keep charging the people more money, but let's not cut the government. So,
and Tenessa's come up with the idea, well, why don't we trim the government down a little bit? Why don't, I'm noticing that, and there's a big article in today's paper about attracting doctors here, and UC Davis is going to have a satellite facility, medical school type deal, a 3-year program.
Oh.
There's going to be one here, one in Humboldt, and one in Nevada County.
Wow.
And it's not a lot of people. I think it's more or less a residency program.
Yeah.
But it's all brought to us because of Dr. Nuka and Kevin Cry and Chris Street.
I believe that.
They've got on board. They said, yes, this is what we need. And, the people that have been in charge for the last 15 years, they haven't brought us any doctors. In fact, we're going backwards.
Well, one thing that Reading has the 2 largest trauma centers north of Sacramento all the way up into southern Oregon.
Oh, the Good News Rescue Mission and the New Life Discovery Center? Is that what you're talking about?
Not those trauma centers, but the RMC and Mercy, and so, or Digny, I think. I don't know which one they are anymore. But so we have the medical facilities to help doctors get to their destination, I think, faster than, and if you send, and a cost of living that's lower than anywhere else. So having them come up here to get trained makes complete sense. They're going to be on a starting salary, and they're going to have exposure to everything because we get all of the big incidents anyways.
Sure. And you get that going up here, get a medical college going up here, all the satellite businesses that'll come in, wanting to sell their instruments, wanting these doctors to train on their instruments and their procedures and everything. It'll be a bigger boom for our economy than Amazon.
Well, and if they can pull it off, because I know Danuka has said, championed bringing in some kind of a medical college, but he probably can't get that for 10 years if he's lucky, just because funding and finding supporters and making it and actually building it. And that, if they can get UC Davis to cut that time by 70% and have things up and running in 2 to 3 years, that would be huge.
Oh, yes.
That'd be massive.
I think they will, too. Chris Street found a couple of dump truck loads full of grants that we would qualify for to get it running.
No.
But we're getting away from the subject. Tanessa brought up in this what a boom Amazon will be, because that's bringing people in from out of the area working, and they'll be buying and paying taxes.
I disagree. Now, here's why. Amazon a couple years ago, I think a year and a half ago, announced that they bought 30,000 robots. 30,000 robots. They are building data centers to support AI, and you mentioned talking about AI. And Amazon has just laid off 30,000 people. I wonder if that's a coinkydink that they bought 30,000 robots and now they've fired 30,000 people going into the holiday season, for the record. And they're building AI centers to run the robots.
And Reading has cheap electricity.
And so the arguments made, it's going to make all of this employment. It's going to be great. It's going to be a boon. If Amazon sticks to their business plan, their warehouses will almost be 100% fully automated. There won't be that many people working there.
We'll come up with a robot tax. Hey, let's play that clip now. And this is Tanessa talking about her solution maybe to big league dreams. Shoot.
Of the contracts we have with some of these parks. I mean, Big League Dreams, I found somebody who was willing to invest and create a nonprofit to run that. And the Parks Department said, no, we don't. We want to do it ourselves, and we're not going to give you any grant funding if you take this from us. And that's a real problem to me. They wanted control over that park. And I think this happens often with our people that work in the city, is they want control. They've always had control. We're a full service city, but the world has changed. It's 2025. It's very different now. And we can't afford to have this many people and be paying market rate.
Would they be able to cover the turf
and their
replacement?
pensions? I think there's many things that can get us to turf replacement. But the fact is that you won't be able to get to that place if the city's not going to play ball with somebody who's trying to come in and do better for the city and for the people of the city. And so when you have somebody who's come in who has a track record of running these types of facilities, who says, I'm willing to put together a plan to do that, and the parks director says, we don't want you to do that.
And the reason why I say this, I know who you're talking about, and I know what you're talking about, and I believe that they could operate at a really good profit, and it would be amazing out there, but I don't think it would cover, not even come close to the turf replacement costs.
Well, right now we can't afford those turf payments. You're going to have to get a loan. So also the amounts that have been allocated. Right. So the amounts, but people need to understand this too. If you say yes to $1.5 million for this, for let's say it's Big League Dreams, they're going to bond on that, because that won't get the job done either.
Can I
and
also
so
tell
what
you
you're
that,
saying is that just give us this little bit of money, and then we're going to go into debt. We're going to take on some more bonds. We're going to take on some debt to be able to pay for that.
And that's actually maths out with inflation costs, that maths out. But
to you, but the fact of the matter is that
historically, just look at it.
Well, but the people think that money actually pays for it, and it doesn't. It's enough that you can bond on it. So what they should be aware of is, you're just going to give us enough money that we can go out and get some more debt to be able to pay for this, which is a bad plan.
We wrote it ongoing as an allocation to Big League Dreams to cover. It has to stay in that category.
Yeah,
though.
for 5 years.
But it has to stay in the category.
Well, it has to stay in parks,
yeah.
But they could go do another big park.
So yes.
So there you go. I just enjoyed Tanessa battling with her. I enjoy going to the supervisors meetings and seeing Tanessa and Aaron Reisner getting cat fights. You can almost guess there's going to be one. And she's well spoken. She sticks up for herself. Joshua, I thought he was rude, interrupting, arrogant, and she shut him down every time, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and the reality is Joshua is a big city, big tax guy. He's the one who wanted a Measure A. He thinks that getting more money to the government is the solution, and it wouldn't occur to him to get the government out of the way and let private industry take it over. And I suggested on our show, Poke the Hornet's Nest, that one of the things they could do to minimize cost is REU can donate 100% of energy to whoever takes over the park. They run profit every year, and they give out these stupid, asinine bullshit rebates to electric cars and electric bikes. And they, and Josh was like, well, that's a state mandate. Well, you know what? Tell the state to F off.
There you go.
Give big league dreams for kids and things that are actually going to generate revenue. Give them the energy free of charge. Then have the city partner up with these things. I mean, you and I talked about it, just making a joke, but we have Red Emerson, one of the richest men in the world. We have McConnell Foundation. We have other very wealthy things and people in this area that maybe they could be approached for each donating $1 million, and they could help pay for the turf. City underwrites a little bit of it. The energy ends up being free, and you get a private entity running that place. You could turn it back into a profit generating pride spot for Reading.
Absolutely. The same with South City Park with Rick Bozzetti and Les Melberg. They wanted to take it over, wash the city's hands of it. They'd be going full bore right now. Oh, no, they wouldn't let them do that. The city's taking it over.
My understanding is didn't they get the permission to do at least Tiger Field? Because Tiger Field has been, I think, maintained very well. It's locked down like a stage 3 penitentiary.
I think you need to approach it like two different entities. You've got South City Park and you've got Tiger Field.
Yeah, exactly.
And South City Park, they had to put up fencing to keep the bums out because there's syringes all over and trash and human feces. So they did that, but they had a plan, and I saw it. It was published. They were going to have a big screen and movies down there. During the summer, they had bocce ball courts, pickleball courts, another baseball field, and it was all going to be public or private money, except they wanted 1.5 million seed money from ARPA. Mm-hmm. And it just gripes my ass. They took that ARPA money, and they're doing that downtown specific plan with it.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. How's that helping the community come back?
Well, and they also took that one-time money and they obligated the city residents to multiple year deficit situation by hiring a ton of people on a one-time payment, and now they're bitching they don't have enough money. So the city is not the one you want to have running if you're going to turn it around and make it positive.
The problem is we have educated people that have never run anything.
Nope.
And they're in charge, and they make the rules. That's the problem.
Nick, you're so dumb, Nick. You're dumb. They have an education with a degree. No. They have a degree that told them in the book that's how you're supposed to do it. And
that's right.
And the real people who actually went out and busted ass and had elbows, my old baseball coach said, I want to see assholes and elbows because that just meant you're grinding it out.
Yeah.
Those people don't go into government. It's because they know that they're going to be just up against a wall of educational stupidity.
They're failed recall people.
Yeah.
Every one of those are educated idiots.
Yes, absolutely.
Sucking the government's hind tit.
For their whole career.
Yes.
And now
they've got all the answers.
And now they're on a government pension. And so they've got all the time in the world, and they've got this pension that's paid them too much for what they've actually ever accomplished in life. And, they get to sit there and yell the loudest, scream the highest, and all the good stuff.
Speaking of pensions, CalPERS just lost $70 million out of their $410 million investment in what?
Green energy.
Yes. And guess who has to make that deficit up?
Well, it's going to be the city of Reading, Shasta County. But you know what? No,
the taxpayers.
I was going to say I am wrong. This time, Nick beat me to the punchline. It's going to be the taxpayers.
The ones that produce taxes.
Yes, the ones that actually go to work and do it. And we're at a point, I think in California, I read an article that we're at a point that we've actually reached where there's more teat-sucking employees of the government and handouts than people that are working. And if the gas goes up about $2 a gallon, which is expected with the closing of the refineries, that tax base is going to shrink. So for the ones who remain, it's going to get even more expensive. Isn't that great?
Oh, boy.
Isn't that great? So yes, green energy. That's actually how you and I started, Nick. You had me come on and we talked about this, 3 years ago? And I said green energy is the biggest losing scam in the world. There's not a single profitable project anywhere in the world if you took away the government subsidies around the world.
My definition of green energy is a $100 bill. You go out and accomplish this task, and here's your green energy, and
Yes.
you put it in your pocket.
Yeah,
That's green energy.
You get energy and you get green back for it.
Of course, the $100 bill is now the new 20. Thank you, Joe Biden.
$5 actually. Well, Trump's doing his best part to raise up inflation as well. So, but no, you and I've talked about this many times. What an absolute scam green energy is, and it never will be profitable. It will never work, at least not in our lifetime.
You know, I mentioned last week that we were subsidizing all the people in their Teslas and their electric cars. And one thing I didn't bring real clear is I saw the new charging stations. Now, us people that use internal combustion motors that burn gasoline, our money helps build the gas stations.
Yes.
All of us, whether we've got an electric vehicle or not, we're building their gas stations.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is subsidized by everybody, and it's just such a losing proposition for the tax-paying old guy like me that doesn't want an electric car. Can you imagine? Now, I've got a 2011 Honda Accord,
Yeah.
and it's got a little deal up there that shows when your tire's going flat.
Oh, yeah. Pressure thing.
Okay, so I'm driving up to Ashland last week, and it comes on. And I just got new tires put on. And so I went on down after I got home and had him check. And he says, oh, well, it's probably the battery in that sensor. There's a little battery, kind of like a watch battery, that's probably run low. Well, I'm just putting a piece of electrical tape over that.
Yeah.
And I'll check my own tire pressure once a month or so. But how ridiculous is that?
Well, that's modern tech, is the
How
convenience.
about if I take it to a mechanic? How much do you think they'll charge me to fix that?
Well, I can tell you factually, if you take it to the great folks over at Les Schwab and you pull in and you just say, I'd like my tires at 36, they will set all your tires at 36 for free in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, America's Tire Store too, and they've got a help yourself down there at Costco that's real handy.
Yeah.
You just pull up, put it in there, it quits pumping at the pounds that you specify. Well, listen, I hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and you're quite versed in it. Could you take the time to explain to us what artificial intelligence is, AI?
Well, let me do a disclaimer. I am not well versed in it, but I know more than most people only because it absolutely terrifies me. It's a scary concept. It's going to make humans stupid. It's going to make them lazy. It already is. But basically, artificial intelligence is this, put it this way, kind of a data gathering computer. So you can say, ChatGPT, get me this, and it can source all public, and I say public, what's available on the internet anywhere in the world, and within 30 seconds to a minute, spit something out that is supposed to be relatively accurate. Now, it doesn't develop anything. It's not a research tool. It basically just takes the stuff. One of the things that's really becoming apparent with AI is it's a complete piece of shit. It's plagiarizing.
Look at him just go wild with the profanity. We're not on Carl's
We're not
show.
on Carl's show. Well, the point being is there's no other accurate adjective to describe what it is.
Hey, it's okay. I see some of these other guys using the F word and stuff like
Well,
that.
I don't want you to do it for a shock effect, but there's no other adjective that really can describe it, because what AI is doing is they're plagiarizing authors from all over the world, and there's lawsuits because you will ask AI to do something, and it'll piece together 5 different authors' works and put it in as like it's supposedly some kind of an original work when it's actually verbatim, chapter 1 out of this book, chapter 3 out of this book. So it's complete plagiarism. And then last year, there was a well-known incident that, if you weren't paying attention and you're living your life, I get you're not, is they asked Gork or ChatGTP or one of the death machines, to come up with a picture of the founding fathers. And it came up with black women, Indians, and indigenous people. That it didn't have a single white person in the entire picture. And that's and here's the problem, Nick. Why is that? It's humorously stupid and stupidly humorous. Is if you really believe that AI is giving you facts, you would go around telling people, "Oh my God, did you know we had 4 black women as our founding fathers and we had 3 Indians?" And people don't have to do research, and they're finding out now that they've got to actually, the universities are having to have like these kind of AI detective tools because they're getting reports and theses written by AI and not written by the people. So we're becoming stupider and lazier. So that's level 1. And the best part about it is it's going to blow up and it's going to be a disaster. NVIDIA is going to lose a ton of money, and so are all the tech. Because right now there's a $1 trillion circle jerk going on between Meta, Amazon, Tesla. They're all giving each other this this $1 trillion thing. They're buying like NVIDIA chips so they can do this, and then that person buy, and it's like a $1 trillion thing. And I understand kind of how it's working, but I don't understand how it's working. But AI is basically going to fall on its face because the big companies have invested, last I read, somewhere close to $2 trillion or $2,000 billion. And their return is about $100 billion. So they're at about a 99% loss, if not even larger loss ratio. And they don't know how to turn it into a profit-making thing. So you can only carry that much loss for so long before the legs on the chair start to fall out.
The government has to bail you out.
Well, the government
with
can't.
a new tax.
Well, yeah, the government can't bail. Maybe Joshua Johnson can write up a new tax to save AI.
There you go.
But so it's already a massive loser. Here's the scary part: is it is a self-learning algorithm. In other words, it's supposed to. That's why it's called artificial intelligence. It's supposed to get smarter, i.e., access and put data together.
But it
better.
does this itself. It doesn't have somebody
Oh,
programming.
it's 100%. It's 100% self done. You don't need people to do it.
Isn't
The
that
programming,
something?
it's still programming ones and zeros. It's still that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all computers are, is 1 and zeros.
Sure.
So it's still that, but it's only as good as the programming. And what they found out during Mr. Craptard Biden's administration is AI was being overwhelmingly, if not exclusively, programmed by left technicians, and it was always left-leaning. If you brought up a thing of Donald Trump, he was a traitor. He orchestrated January 6th, blah blah. You said something about Obama or Biden, they came out, they were the greatest statesmen ever to live in the world. Same with Clinton. So it in by itself is insidious in that it's making people lazier. People have it write stuff, this and that. Where it's going to start to get scary, and depends on who you believe. There's a thing coming down called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, and ASI, Artificial Super Intelligence. And again, as it gets smarter, it's going to pass into the next phase. And general intelligence, it kind of exceeds my pay grade, but basically it's kind of AI on roids and will be able to do more human-like things that AI can't do, because AI is basically unprogrammable for emotions, rationalization. It's just data in, data out, and the data in is data out is only as good as data in. Where it gets really insidious is artificial superintelligence. And people who are in the business are starting to scream from the mountaintops, but they're being ignored. It is projected that AGI was 5 years out. Now they're saying it could be as little as 2 years out. And they were saying ASI is 10 years out. Now they're saying it could be 3 to 5 years. And artificial superintelligence is basically building a human. It will have, as a single point of computing power, all the knowledge of all the humans on planet Earth. It'll have that kind of power. And at that point, it will be smarter than all humans if you put us together to outwit it. It'll be able to outwit us. And they're planning to build many of these ASIs. That's what the...
And what's the purpose of building them? What are they planning on using them for?
Well, there's the good question. I mean, I said on our radio show, I said on Carl's show once, we were talking about modern warfare and how Ukraine has changed the war, that war in Ukraine, because what we're discovering is we don't need big planes. We don't need all of this stuff. All you need is a $300 drone. If you have a $300 drone, you can inflict a heck of a lot of damage. And so one of the uses of AI as it becomes more intelligent, air quotes, is I saw a video that was produced by, I want to say it was one of the defense contractors, and they were actually touting it as this new advance. And basically it shows a plane like a C-130 or a C-5 flying in the air, and the back door opens up, boom, drops. So now they're going to do a drop. And they start pushing out these crates. Well, these crates had somewhere in the neighborhood, I think they projected was 10,000 individual drones with bombs. 10,000 individual drones fell out of one plane, all loaded with small bombs, small bomb material. And controlled by AI, they could go out and find they could go find and would hit 10,000 individual sites without a miss. That's
Boy,
AI.
It's pretty tough to fight something like that.
It is, and so
I
that's
thought cluster bombs were something.
well, and that's kind of the penultimate kind of thing is it's if you can build a military where you don't need necessarily. I mean, they've already got robots that are in production that are robot humanoids. They've got robotic dogs that can carry bombs into stuff or whatever. So why are they going to need ASI? Well, something's got to control that. And it's going to exceed our control. And there was a great study done, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more. Microsoft, their top engineers, put an AI to the task to see if it could solve this thing. And the thing is, they said it was unsolvable because it required human rationalization, which is not programmable. And the computer did it, and it freaked them out. And I think it was 20 scientists sent a letter to Bill Gates and said, we need to stop this. We need to slow this down and figure it out because it's learning faster than we programmed it would. And they got fired.
Oh, that's about up to par.
So that's AI in a nutshell, and it's just making people lazier. They don't do their own work. They don't do the research. They just rely on AI, and AI is only currently a data in and data out. And if the data in is bad, the data out's bad. But if people think AI wrote it, they're going to believe it, even if it's completely false.
Kind of like our news media.
Yeah, well, I think, the problem with AI also, Nick, is we've reached a point in your and my life, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We don't know what's real.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
They call them deep fakes, but I mean, they can make entire videos. They could. Nick, I didn't realize that you took your white truck and hit 7 cars yesterday. And I didn't hit a single car. Well, I've got video on the traffic.
It was fun. I was wondering where I got these black eyes.
Well, I've got a video of you going down Market Street hitting cars, and you're like,
sure.
I didn't do that. And
Can you think of what the politicians are going to do with that against an opponent?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, geez.
Well, I mean, Joanne Atkinson, when she was under attack from, I think it was Obama to be exact, the government was trying to plant child porn onto her husband's computer.
Yep, I don't doubt that a bit.
And so
Cheryl Atkinson.
Cheryl Atkinson, that's what I said, yeah. And so think about a computer can do that and it's untraceable.
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna have to go to court now and I don't have child porn on my, and they're gonna go, here's the evidence. Where's your computer? And so we're going down an avenue for which the genie's out of the bottle, so to speak. And the problem is the genie is evil. And the people who are pushing it don't understand the roadblocks that are coming. And, the people who always push this stuff are the ones that end up being hit by it at the end. And they're always surprised.
I've read a few articles that I claimed were so on the radio and come to find out they were AI.
Yeah.
Completely not true.
Oh, no, they have full AI radio shows now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they already have that.
Oh.
So they can program Doug and Nick, put it on the radio, and people think it's you and I. They can sample voices. They put them on, and there was a study. And gosh,
well, Carl had a couple of them. Common Grounds. I think Christian Gardner was hosting it. That was AI.
Oh, really?
Well, he's not intelligent. I'll tell you that.
And maybe he's artificial.
And then there was Shasta Unhinged with that Jessica Finch.
Yeah. No,
French, yeah.
Nick, AI is, I will say this. I do think there is some positive uses for AI because if you go to your doctor, you and I talked about this, if you go to a bad doctor, it's a bad doctor. But you're limited to that person's knowledge, perspective, and what they know about an issue, a boil on your arm, whatever on your neck, a cancer in your toe. They only know what they know. I think AI does offer the opportunity that with some telehealth on many things, you'll be able to present what's going on. I have heartburn, I have this, I have that, and AI can take from the entire world, and they may find some very obscure letter or study done in Australia that they studied people with this condition. It turned out to be this, and here it was the cure. So I do think that is a very positive approach. The problem is we still won't be able to afford healthcare, so it won't really matter much.
That's right. One thing I wanted to bring up, I stumbled across this the other day. You mentioned our founding fathers and the picture of the chicks that showed up. They were young. And what surprised me is the life expectancy of a male at that age was 39 years. So they were actually middle-aged.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't teenagers like we know them today.
No. And the thing that's amazing, absolutely drop jaw amazing about that group of human beings, which I revere more and more for their brilliance. For an average 30-something set of young men, because there was no women. Sorry, it's sexist. I'm just going to say it. There were no women. Now, I'm sure at home...
Well, they'd still be arguing.
Well, I'm just saying at home, I'm sure the men were getting an earful. But the reality is they were white Christian men. For whatever you want to put into that, that's the statement of fact. And they came up with the two greatest documents ever written by human hands. The Bible is not one of them, because the Bible is a series of stories that were put onto paper.
I think it's 20 or 20-something different books.
These guys
put together made the Bible.
Exactly. So the Bible is kind of a story of
many generations
and interpretations and this and that. And it wasn't necessarily written by man. It was kind of this pulled together.
I think it's that spaceship they're following right now by the sun.
Yeah.
It's coming to give us its interpretation of the Bible.
But I think that for a human hand, the two greatest documents are Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. And they were written by 30-something young men, relatively speaking. Now that I'm 60, I can say young men. And how brilliantly out they were thinking as to where all government leads. And they tried to stop it, and we jettisoned that in about 1900. We started to decimate what was our Declaration of Independence, the Constitution.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there you go. There's some AI, just so you know, and just if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm just telling you. If we're wrong, don't call and tell us. Yeah. Well, the more I watch and read about it, the more I see these people who are in the tech world saying, we've let a genie out of the bottle and we don't know how to get it back in. That's what I keep hearing.
Okay, so let's approach this last subject and call it a day. Universal basic income. It's going to be digital. You'll get, say, $1,000 a month to eat on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've got all your information. You can't get any more. The educated people who decide what you can have, what you can't have, it just turns us into slaves like you've never seen before.
Well, and do keep in mind, for everybody who supports Trump, he's part of this process. He's big into, and they're like, well, he's outlawed central bank digital currency. Well, yes, he did, but no, he didn't. He's got Planeteer, Peter Thiel, who is basically generating what will turn out to be Death Star 5 for the United States, because he's building a data surveillance database on every human with Trump's blessing. So don't sit there and don't think Trumpy's not in on this. And that is the thing, is they're going to have to crash the economy. And the problem is with humans is when the economy crashes, we tend to go look for government to help us out. So they're going to crash the economy. It's coming. Don't worry about it. I could go through a whole macro list. That's another show. But once they do that, they're going to be able to say, hey, Nick, here's this credit card, or even worse, here's this chip we're going to implant in the back of your hand. And I know you people are thinking, that's great. I'm telling you, they already have it. It's already
they put it in
use.
dogs and cats.
They already have it. People sign up to test this in Silicon Valley. It's already here that they can wave their hand on one of those scanners.
Yep.
And it has tied to all their biometrics, their credit cards, their bank accounts, and it's just in their hand.
You're not going to be able to cheat at nothing.
You can't do one-on-one. You and I couldn't sell a transaction without having it be registered and go through a federal database. So they know how much you got, how much I got. And the problem is universal basic income relies on other people's money, OPM, other people's money. And anybody who thinks it's going to be great, it's basically just welfare. So let's just call it what it is. It's full-on welfare.
Anybody that thinks it's going to be great doesn't have any money. They're going to get some money.
Well, and the best part is if they speak out of turn and get heard, well, the government's going to send them a little email and say, hey, Nikki,
no candy for you.
We heard you putting down, Trump, and we're going to have to dock your this month's income by $1,500. So you're down to $1,000 instead of $2,500, and you're going to go, but I can't pay my bills. Well, next time maybe you'll think about not saying something mean about Mr. Trump. So UBI is pure evil. But it's all part of the central database data collection that they're already working on with Planeteer.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, okay. Let's call it a wrap. You had enough for today?
I think we've done very well. It's 36 minutes according to my clock.
Okay, let's call it good. We'll keep these short so we can just get to the meat of it and get out of here and listen to it. And I'll see you in 2 weeks right here.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks for viewing.